Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're looking at how to set up, play and review the game Foundations of Rome. Now, you may have seen my unboxing teaser trailer preview overview video. You may have also seen my quick 1-minute YouTube short, which is telling you how to play the game. There are only 3 actions. Now, this is the Emperor edition. This is another video that will be going in the AmassGames playlist. It'll also be going in the family weight playlist because it's not that complex. In fact, I think I regard it as a light complexity game. I'm just going to take out a single player tray to show you how that works. And lastly, if you do want to check out those other videos I just mentioned, you can do so by heading through to the respective playlists, such as, of course, the unboxing playlist and also through to your YouTube shorts. So this is a game. It's for 2 to 5 players. Again, because it's Emperor, it has the extra 5th player in it. We'll be setting up just to show for 1 player board initially, and I'll also have some overlap just so it's not too out of shot and also detailed enough that you can see everything on the board. Now this has been sleeved and I will show you that briefly, and also I'll show you that everything does still fit back in the box. If you're playing at 4 to 5 players, you're going to be playing on this side. You will not be using the red section unless you're playing as a 5, for example, and then over here 2 to 3 players, again you will not be using the blue section, that's the H section down here, and the A row with the 8s on it, unless you're playing at 3 player. So, choose your respective colour. Whoever you have wants to start can start. The owner of the game can decide who starts, they can pick themselves if they want to. So as you can see, everything is pretty much in shot down here right now, and then you can place this up to the top. Aim in the game, get the most points. This is a game designed by Emerson Matsuchi, who has brought other games such as Century Spice Road to Life, and I've played many other games by Emerson, such as Spectre Ops, amongst many others. Now, like I said, I have sleeved them. This will go in and actually gets the Melee sleeve list as well. I do have other sleeves, other companies too. They can be used, they happen to be premium. Just let you know this kind of size you need. 63.5mm by 88. So pick your colour. Now I happen to have yellow out, and then yellow will go out here. So you have 1 here for victory points to be tallied at the end of the game, and we have a population tracker. Over here, this is purely set up for a 2 player in this corner, and that has just happened to be a fluke perhaps, but as you can see, all these cards have a 2+ on it, again respecting the respective colour. Again, with 3 players, it'll be a different shade, and they'll be respecting over here, again with 4 as well. So they can see there's the purple, and there's the blue, so there they are. 5th player is separate over here. Now, being Emperor, there are metal coins, so the first player will take 5. This happens to represent a 3, so you'll take 3 for yourself, and to 1, the next player will take 6, 3rd player will take 7, etc. You're going to shuffle up these cards, put them out here into these era decks, approximately a 1/3 each. So it'll be something like this, this, and this. And that's kind of like an end game trigger as well. But when a deck does run out and all the cards go from this line here, then we go into Era 1 scoring. But for now, everybody is going to take 6 cards each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, will be randomised. And they'll be going out. You're also going to have 6 cards laid out here. So of course this would be a lot more evenly spread. I would have done that first. And then here we are. Oops, upside down. And this is how much it's going to cost you to buy these plots of land. This is an action. So 1 action is to get income. Income equals 5 money. The second action will be to get, to buy one of these cards, and in fact these all should be upside down. And the final action is to build on where you have that land. So what you can do is put these as a deck face up, so whenever you need to replace this row, then they're going to go there, but I'll show you that in a second. So I've got these 6 cards. These are where I'm building. These you do not need to have hidden information, you'll know where they're going to be. So for now, let's just write these out here and see where they're going. Any questions, please let me know in the comments. YouTube are best, that's where everyone else can see this video, and of course then build up a discussion. Also via the description on YouTube, you can support the channel via Patreon. There's occasional competitions, so head through to Linktree, and again they are time sensitive, so keep checking back. And lastly, head through to Facebook to follow there, and also Instagram. So please follow on Instagram, over 2,750 posts presently. So let's go through this in this order. G5, so there we are. We have C3, this is one we'll be starting on a shared board. C1, so we've got C1 over here. F1, where's F1 over there? We've got so F6, and lastly A2. So seeing where I'll be starting off, I'll also know where my opponents are, and wherever they're starting, I think where I maybe want to go. So this is where I can build. So what could I build here? we have various buildings. So over here, let me show you what buildings I've got. I could choose to build out, presently, based on what I've got, a building like this. This happens to be a residential building of beige, and they have a person on it. I could choose to build a commercial building. They'll have a coin on it. They'll give me coin each round. Aside from that, or each income phase, I could build a civic building, and that's where I'll be interacting and working with other players, depending on who's got what buildings where. So let's take my first action. And that first action, again, there's a turn guide here, and you can turn it over to show you what these things represent: a citizen, silver, any building, a civic building, and victory points. And here's the options you can do. Buy a deed, you can build a lot, or you can take income. So I don't think I need to take income, obviously bearing in mind I've already got 5. D6, does D6 help me? D6 isn't near me too much, but E6 is, because having a secondary building or secondary plot is great, because now I can build some bigger buildings, which might be better for me. At the end of an era, you're going to see how much population you have. So if I've got 5 population, I'll get 5 points at the end of the round. If someone is in front of me, I'll take their amount of population as victory points instead. So you're taking 1 ahead of someone in front of you. If someone has 0 population, you'll not be scoring any bonus points down here. So that's something to be aware of. You'll not also be benefiting from whoever's 1 place ahead of you. Lastly, let's talk about income. Wherever you're at the end of an era, you'll also take victory points equal to your income. So right now, let's think about this location, because again, getting a second one's really good. I could go for C2, but C2 is too expensive for me. So let's go for E2. Take that card, it's going to go into my pile, which again can be discarded. It's all going to shuffle along. I need to spend 3 income, so spend that 3 coin. Just go back here for now. And now I will be taking, obviously, this position. Now, I've only got 8 lots, and now I've used up 7. Once I've used up an 8th one, I must build. I'll get back these lot counters, but then, of course, I then need to consider buying other cards too. We now refill this deck as well. We've got an extra card out. Now it's their turn. Now let's say it's back to my turn. In this instance, let's build something here. So I'll be taking these markers off, put it back on my board, building this out here. And this is case I've built a pottery studio. So pottery studio will give me 2 points at the end of an era. So anything visible down here gives me points. Plus I've now got more income. So now it's their turn, it's back to my turn. Let's show you that third type of action. The first one I took was to buy a deed card. The second action is to get a building out. The third type of action is to get income. So I get 5 income, 5 money each time I do the income option. But in this instance, I get a 6th one because of the 1 silver here. So I take 6 income, so that comes back to me. And that's kind of an engine building effect to the game. That's it. You play until again that era finishes. So again, if these cards are all gone and that was the end of the deck, then again you're going to gain silver equal to the values on the buildings on the board. You're then going to gain victory points equal to their value. So you're going to take 6 money, well I'll take 1 money, sorry, and then I'll take, in this case, 1 victory point. And then civic buildings, so I gain victory points for everything next to me. So in this case, if I had, let's show you one, something like this, if I have the respective things, and I had that there, I'd get just 3 coins. But if I had something different, like this civic building, if that happened to be the lots available for me, I'd get 2 victory points for each coin I'm next to. So in this case, I'd get 2 victory points. Now, this is what I need to tell you about buildings. If I wanted to build here, that's fine. I can build a 3rd, so I can build up to level 3, so that can come off, and I could build something like this. But what I can't do is I can't build a smaller building or a building of the same size. So I can't go from whatever that was, a 2, to being a different 2. That is not allowed. You've got to keep getting your buildings getting bigger, so that's something to be aware of. Something else to consider is the fact that it's very much to and fro. So moving into the review section of this video now, and that is where I'm going. Do I want to be chasing your population? Because if I'm going first, I'm going to lose that tempo. If then someone else grabs population, I'm just going to build them up on there. Or do I want to go for income because maybe they're lower money? If they're lower money, maybe they can't afford a card. Maybe I know that they're out of lots, so they can't actually, in this instance, take another deed card. You cannot take a deed card if you use up all 8 of your lot markers. And there are other factors as well. If someone's really ahead on population, you just let them take them. There are some bonuses to being first though. If you have the most population and ties are friendly, you're going to get 4 victory points. You're going to get 7 at the end of era 2 though, and at the end of era 3 you're going to get 10 victory points. So 10 extra victory points. In the last game that was enough to get me the win. Aside from that, there are a few other things to just be aware of. So the commercial buildings in that final era, you gain victory points equal to the coin as well on the board. plus again the victory points revealed on the player board. So in era 1, you're going to get coin equal to what's on there, plus what's on the board, but you're also, in the final round, this is not going to be worth anything, coins isn't worth anything, but it is worth victory points. I haven't seen a tiebreaker, haven't had a tiebreaker situation yet today, to be honest. I would imagine if ties are friendly, that shouldn't be a factor. Incredible components. Everyone has just said absolutely brilliant things about them. Something else people have said is the fact that it's such a huge box. How on earth are people going to be wanting to play this in terms of the presence and like how complex can it be? But as I said, it's 3 actions. You're either getting money, you're spending money, or you're using what you're spending money on to get a building out. And of course, building on what you're going to give you points. That's it. 3 things, beautifully simple. It has almost an element of a Bruno Cathala style game is that well streamlined back. There are plenty of expansions. There are 5 expansions. I won't talk to you about them right now, but we have monuments, which look fantastic. There are various other expansions too, which give you player powers, various objectives, various different varieties of things going on there too. So there's lots of interaction. You really are competing over these different spaces. Most of these spaces will be taken. Decision time isn't too long, obviously bearing in mind that, okay, I'd love to get this card, but it's a bit too expensive. I've only got 3 cash, so literally all I can look at are these 2 cards. But do I want to get a card or this card, which then makes this one cheaper, which maybe then they can afford, and that's all they can afford. So there's lots of really interesting decisions. The fact that there is only 3 options in the game, in this instance, in this base game in terms of actions, it actually makes it very open in terms of other things you can be doing. I think I found over 8 different ways that you could be doing things. So maybe in fact a video such as a playthrough would be very interesting just to show this more to light, how real life, how real world decisions are made and how you're going to vary them. You could get very high in population. Someone did, they got up to like 6 population, but then I stuck down a building which gave me 6 victory points, which of course is better than 6 population, depending on how far into the game and whether that's important in terms of victory points. The coins are great. They're nice detail to them. Again, as with many components though, you could just strip this back and go very bare bones. Even Azul, you could use cardboard, but again, I don't think it'd work the same way. This one, I personally think it could work. Any negative being is these buildings are relatively tall, and even though I'm tall, sometimes you can't always see the values on here, so that's something to be aware of. And the first player marker in this edition, obviously, is just a cardboard chip, so it does stand out a bit compared to the pieces. You could paint it, but then you might miss out on realising that is a residential building. Not that it matters too much, but whether it's like a civic building, it's important to know what you are next to. Obviously, it's a recessed board as well, so that's very nice. Everything folds back very nicely. Obviously, it's very fantastic to look at on the shelf, just because it is a huge Galaxy size box, and that was a big draw for me as well. So, in terms of rating, if we went whole numbers, I would presently give this kind of an 8 out of 10. Sometimes on reflection, you think, oh, actually, it's such a simple game. You know, you might want to pare that back, and of course, that's what I'm coming back to. It's simple, and yet there's a lot of interaction, but in a fun way. It's not complex. Most of your decisions are straightforward, and you're not having to really overly think it. And the duration, like I said, it's only about an hour to play, so it's not a long game, and that's great too. Packing away is pretty quick. You saw how quick it was to set up. Space, again, with more players, you need a bit more space. You do need to have your player kind of board with you, because you need to keep an eye on where you're getting victory points. So just bear in mind, if you wanted to extend your table, keep an eye out on how many people are going to be playing. And it doesn't play solo. I've thought about some ideas actually on doing this solo, because that could be something that people might want to try and test. But for now, I haven't fully tested my solo idea. If you have any questions, obviously, please let me know again. And if you're interested in the comments, please obviously like and also share, hit the notification and the subscribe button. I'm just checking if this all does actually fit inside. Oh, it does. Fantastic. So there we have it, Foundations of Rome. Very interesting game from 2022 from Arcane Wonders, and I think everything hopefully will fit in fine. But yeah, there will be some more videos, including actually from Arcane Wonders, such as there'll be Dice Manor, so that's not going to be the only thing I got from them. I've also got a game from last year, which I'll be yet to play, and another one which, Picture Perfect, if you're familiar with Arcane Wonders. Interestingly, they have different art actually for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. So and maybe a different logo they're going with this year, not sure. There we are. So everything will slide in nicely. Those coins seem to stay in place as well. This isn't a game I'm looking to carry anywhere. That's another interesting point, just due to the size of the box. So it's very interesting. If you want to try and get people to play your game, maybe that's a draw to try and get people to come to your place, just because of the size of the box. Now I do have a nice big carry bag, Kajan, to do that with. But there we are, Foundations of Rome. Thank you for watching. Back to the table.